yes, that should have been something that was never allowed, or at least put far enough out to where you could still work on the bridges, knowing that they were gonna get taken out.
Right.
But that didn't happen.
I have one thing though, I am still in the mix of getting prices for the E&O insurance. I've been dealing with more insurance, and Bob called, who'd you call, Bob? Godfrey? Clevenger Agency.
Okay,
And, I'm still waiting back, she's waiting on the underwriter. She gave me prices for up to 50,000, but I told her I need $1 million per commissioner, so I'm still waiting on the underwriter. I just wanna let you know where I
They don't make that big of mistakes.
was. But,
Underwriters.
mm-hmm. Just thought I'd let you know where I was at.
go ahead, Bob.
I just talked to Clevenger actually yesterday, and they should have something for us Monday or Tuesday.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, good, we need to keep moving on that.
Can I get a picture of what you said we did?
No.
No,
Or,
that's secret or what? You gonna have to kill me or what?
Yeah.
Okay,
That's just chicken scratching.
Well, you might wanna send us all an email to
I can do that. With
That way
the
if you and
tonnages
Ray-
and yardages
yes,
of what they
yes,
did,
yep,
yes, I can
yep.
do that.
Send us
That
an
way,
email.
when they said the county hadn't been doing anything, I can say, hey, this is what we did.
Right.
Yeah. Just that 45,000 tons of material is just,
That's staggering.
that's huge.
It is. And 10 yards to a tie.
Yeah, 10 to 12, depending on the size truck.
Yeah.
Doug, you have a question?
I have a statement. The question was asked if liability insurance for county park trustees. And I know this is the road commission, but that was the question. And the answer is that all board and commissions and their members and employees of the county are automatically covered under MMRMA program. As long as the board is a component unit of the county government, they are protected.
Well, aren't we as road commissioner a component unit? We're in your audit.
We're not covered under that program.
It just said component unit.
Yeah, I understand that, Kathy, but I'm the person who did the paperwork for that plan for 30 years. The road commission is not a part of any of the coverage under the MMRMA. The park commission is, but the road commission is a standalone entity, and that's why we're in McChrysop. We're not in the MMRMA as the road commission.
Chris is our self-insurance pool.
Yeah.
And we actually did that happened to Jackson when the county took them over. They immediately were dropped by McChrysop, and MMRMA had to pick them up, and then they switched over to that.
Because now they're part of Jackson County.
Yep.
It's confusing.
Well, if that language that Doug reported is correct, it contradicts what Gary says. Because the road commission, we are a component unit of Hillsdale County. That's why our audit shows up in Hillsdale County's audit. We are a component unit. I would like clarification as to which one's correct. Is this board covered under county insurance for E&O because we are a component unit? I don't know the answer to that.
So this came from Stephanie, who does the insurance aspect. She is the one that forwarded the question to the representative. His name was Craig. So
How do we get that email, and who do we verify that? Who would verify that email then as to whether we do or don't have insurance? Who would make that call? I don't know.
easy to get email.
Right.
I can forward the email.
I'm not a betting person, but this is one of those that I would bet on.
Well, How do
We
we-
are not covered. Because Craig Manser is the person that Stephanie contacted. I worked with Craig Manser for 30 years. The MMRMA does not cover any road commissions in the state that are in McChrystal.
Okay.
And I would just have to say, from what I know in Jackson that happened, I would agree with that.
Well, then that email's incorrect.
Well, it's Craig Manser, that's correct.
That needs some checking on.
Like,
Verify it.
again, I don't know who verifies it, you know, I don't know how that process works, but, unless I misunderstand what you quoted there, the road commission is a component unit of the county. So does that cover this board? I understand it wouldn't cover the employees, but does it cover this board?
Bob, shall I forward that to you?
Sure. The county
For
sets
one
the
thing.
salary of this board,
But
not the
we're
road
not
commission.
paying any premiums. There are no premiums that go to the MMRMA that covers road commission liability of any kind. And so if you're not paying a premium into the plan, if you're not paying a contribution into it, how in the world could you expect to have coverage?
I am going off of just what Doug quoted. I don't know. What I do know is the road commission is a component unit because we are in the county's audit.
Yes,
We are a component unit.
Yeah.
I know that. And if they cover all boards of component units, we are a board of the component unit. The salary for this board is set by the county commissioners. The road commission does not set our salary. I do know that. Again, I think it's one of those gray areas, and I think we need clarification. There's no sense in buying more insurance
Mhm.
if we're already covered.
Well,
And the
well
worst case we
said.
can get is a no.
Just let me say
With
this.
emphasis.
Let me say this. There are over 60 counties in the state that are in the MMRMA. McChrystal has close to over 70 counties in their plan. I don't know of any county road commission in the state that is covered under the MMRMA where the road commission has a separate governing body. The only ones that I know of that would be included would be like Jackson County, where Jackson County Board of Commissioners now serves as the road commission in Jackson County. There are 7 counties in the state in that category. All of the rest of them are standalone agencies. And in our case, you know, I know that this happened quite a number of years ago. The road commission now has its own EIN number. We no longer use the county's EIN number. We have a separate EIN number.
The worst though, we could get a no. It doesn't hurt asking.
No.
It doesn't hurt asking,
Check
so
into
then
it.
we can go from there.
Right.
And see for sure whether,
If they say yes,
and there,
yes. If not,
there is all the
it
time.
is what it is.
We come up with things all the time that somebody asks a question like that, and next thing you know, that's the next biggest thing that happened across the
Yeah.
state, you know, because
That's
somebody,
why I sent it to Bob.
yeah, because somebody asked a question.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it. We might get told no, but
It'll
that's,
clear up the gray area.
It'll clarify the gray area.
Yeah.
Yep.
we do a little legwork on that.
And many times in government, one hand doesn't know what the other one's doing.
Well,
Well, I'm convinced that this one has been around long enough that
Well,
to me, it's fine if some of you believe that there's confusion and needs something cleared up, but to me, it's not confusion.
It's, okay. All we can do is look into it. It'll take us a few minutes to send an email. We
yeah,
can
ask
figure
the
it out.
questions.
Okay, so going back to the question of the power lines, So that's something we're gonna have to pay consumers, approximately what, $35,000?
Right at 35.
Okay.
Like that, I think it's 20 to move it out of the right of way, 15 to move.
Are they doing that right away, or are they gonna get it done on a
Yes.
timely basis?
I think
So
they're
they
in the
don't
they're in
hold
the
up the
process of doing
project?
it, they're in the process of doing it right now.
Good.
Because Millbacher can't, they can tear the bridges apart, they can't start driving piles on
Right,
that
they gotta
bridge.
be able to swing.
One bridge is clear.
Yeah.
It's only one bridge that, and so they've gotta be able to drive pile, and there's angle pile on the side, just happens to be where the side wire's on.
Mhm.
If the wire's on this side, they probably could have moved it back just a little bit and been okay,
Yeah.
but it's not. So yes, that's,
So my concern is, I mean, sometimes you see consumers agree to do something, but it takes them forever to get there.
this actually went very quickly all the way up to the VP, and we had answers like immediately, and so they're, yes. I'll actually be surprised if they haven't gotten done yet, but, they were very good at working.
Okay. Any old business to come before us? Yes.
I
Fine.
got Cambria Township said that there's leaves on the Mill Pond Bridge and they're plugging the drains.
Don't burn them.
No, we all talked about that too. You want a new bridge, set her on fire.
I've had that complaint every fall
Yeah,
since I've been on this board.
yeah. Well, they're complaining again.
So
Yeah,
where's that at again?
Cambria,
Cambridge Bridge.
right in Cambria.
Lilac
Where
Road.
you took the tree out.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the same place.
And so those are on top, plugging the drains
Right.
going down, okay.
Right.
I'll
So the
just
water-
put in a service request
The
to,
water will be standing on. And I told people that, hey, you guys can call the road commission. They do answer the phone there.
yes, we do.
Oh, Walden Road and North Adams Road, there's a guardrail broke on Walden Road.
I think that's where the end's all crushed in.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think they got that, but they're looking to replace it.
okay.
But anyway, it was Waldron and,
Walden and North Adams. It's actually on Walden Road where the guardrail's broke. Looks to me like a semi went around and didn't go white enough. But his trailer got the guardrail.
and if we can, things like that, they normally hit them and leave, but if there's an accident report, we can go back
Yeah,
and file against the accident report with their insurance company to pay for it, but
yep. But I think this was a hit and run.
most of them are.
Other than that, that's about, well, I guess you don't have a fire chief in Reading anymore, but you got,
We're working on it.
there's a guy that represented the fire department that came to Cambria, and he told me that Hemlock Road needs attention, cause he lives on it, so.
Oh, you're talking about Rick Rittman.
I didn't catch his name,
He's talking about Hemlock south of Banker.
must be.
I've told the road commission about this several times. Between the boat launch and Banker Road, it's a real nice crushed limestone road, but for some reason that gets full of potholes. It's really bad last time I drove down.
He mentioned it to me at the Cambria Township meeting, cause he was there,
It's Rick Rittman.
he was reporting for the Reading Fire Department, so.
And our guardrail on South Allen Road is still broken.
There's a lot of guardrail that, yeah.
I mean, you brought it up, so I just wanted to.
Now, one comment I have for the road commission, and this deals with Addison Road, that, a gentleman that lives on Addison Road texted me and said that my road, Barker Road, was in better condition than his, after it had been graded, but you guys came out and graded Addison Road again, so now I've gotta text him back and tell him that his road is in better condition than mine now. So, we got on and off. Of course, he picks
Well,
up.
the graders and trucks will be out there
Yeah.
doing everything they can until it freezes up.
But he's picking on me because I'm on the road commission board and thinking I'm getting special treatment or something, you know?
Okay, moving on then to new business. We wanna tackle the 24 budget first, or we wanna talk about trucks?
Trucks aren't even on here.
Well, I know they're not on there, but they need to be addressed.
Whichever you'd like to talk about first. I can talk trucks real quick if you want.
Yeah.
I got in touch with I guess he's bond counsel.
Eric McLaughlin.
Yep. He called me, he's gonna send me like a proposal of what we can do, what we can do, what we can't do, kind of thing, because I guess there's a lot of legal issues to borrowing money for municipalities. So he's supposed to be getting me a whole thing on that. So basically, and I talked to the vendor, I would like to purchase outright the first truck. We can do it, he's already got a PO, we can tell him to execute the PO, as long as you guys are good with it, we'll get one truck coming. The other two trucks, I think we need to look at doing the finance and going through Eric to get that ball rolling. I just think that's gonna be it takes a little bit, according to him, it takes a little bit to go through all the hoops of setting this up. You can't, it's not just like going to a dealer and getting a loan, you gotta go through.
Right.
So it sounds like that could take a month or two.
It could take a little bit.
But, so we might drag out, getting those other trucks. The vendor did say if we give him a PO for the other two trucks, so basically there'd be 3 POs out there, one to purchase immediately, 2 others to basically hold them. And he said he'll hold them as long as he can, they still have quite a few on the lot there. But if it gets to the point where they're getting down to that and they wanna sell them, he's basically gonna say either buy them or I'm selling them. And so at that point, we'd have to buy them outright or, have the financing in place to, financing or outright doesn't matter to him, as long as he gets the money. So if that's okay with the board, I will go ahead and purchase one and get the other 2 on hold with the expectation of using Eric and him to do financing on the other 2. And then with hopes of then buying them outright later in the year so that in 24, all 3 of them will be paid for. They can go farther out if we want, but I don't know if we want to have that debt service out there that long.
No, not any longer than that.
Yeah, but I don't like the house building.
That's Brenda.
So, in my conversation with Eric, it sounded like, it's gonna take a little time, but it's not a difficult process to do. I mean, I was involved with numerous installment purchase contract financing with the county, and it's a similar kind of a deal.
And it sounds like I just need to go through the
Follow the
hoops,
proper
but-
process, and he says you're exactly right. He says you cannot, just walk down to the local bank and borrow the money like an individual can. A municipality can't do that.
And so I guess I'm good with doing that if you are, and I'll continue working with Eric to get that set for the payment of the other 2, and at that point, we should be able to get the other 2 shipped over.
I asked him, I said, so what is the cost, to you to do an installment purchase contract? It's about 1% of the amount you're gonna finance.
Well, it's gonna be right about 1.1 million. Well, no, if we buy the one outright, so that'd knock it down 380, so.
But, yeah, so you'd be around maybe $800,000.
Yep.
Need a motion?
I think it'd be a good idea.
I think if we're
And just so you
doing
know,
a
they did
motion,
knock down the price. Originally it was $391. They reduced the price of the trucks by $3,000 a piece and took the delivery off. So basically, it's a little over $10,000
Yeah.
total that they took off the bill.
So are we gonna send people out there to drive the truck back?
No, they'll ship it.
They're gonna ship it here.
And they took the shipping off, so we don't pay for the shipping. So
Okay.
that was originally, I think, $2,000 to ship each one of them. So basically, they took $5,000 off what we would have paid off each one.
Well, I would so move that we do what you suggested.
Support.
Okay, so I have a motion and support that we buy one truck outright and proceed down the road to finance the other two through an installment purchase contract. Any other discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion is approved.
Go get 'em.
I have a question, because there was already a motion out there to purchase 3 of them outright, so is that
Yeah.
still fine in the minutes? Previous one, now it sounds like we're buying
3 more.
6 trucks.
No.
I'm just saying, that's just what it sounds like.
Should we rescind the
Did
other
we
motion?
actually make a motion
Yes,
to
you
buy
did.
3
Was
trucks?
it
Yes.
me that made the motion? I think it was.
I would have to look at the minutes.
I can rescind my previous motion. If you find out who it was made.
And now you say that, I think you guys did
I
Mm-hmm.
think we did
approve,
that.
approve the purchase of 3 trucks. I don't know if it had any stipulations.
Well, I had the dollar amounts, I had from who, all that, so.
That was in, not the last,
At least a month ago.
yeah, it was previous. Oh, I'd have to get my phone out and look, see what the previous minutes say.
I got all the minutes.
Well, I think if somebody would just move that,
Rescind the previous motion.
to buy the 3 trucks
I
outright,
move that we rescind the previous motion.
I would support.
Second.
Okay, so I have a motion from Mark and a support from Mike to rescind the prior motion to buy the 3 trucks outright. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. It's approved.
Previous motion has been rescinded.
Okay, so then let's move on to the 24 budget.
Okay, so I think you all have a copy of what we sent out. The yellow, I guess, was just for me to draw my attention to. Those were numbers that got basically pushed into 24. So under the original approved, you approved, like, say on the first for the revenues, the 2.48 million. And then you see a 0 under the amended, because it's not gonna get done in 23, and so it got pushed out to 24, and we moved it over to 24. So that's what those yellow are, is to remind, those are numbers that have been moved into other years.
Well, I would move that we approve the proposed 24 budget.
Support.
Okay, I have a motion and support that we approve the proposed 2024 budget. Any questions?
And then this will have, what, the hearing on
The next board.
the next board meeting?
So of the 3 trucks we just talked about, one of them is gonna be in the 23 budget and 2 of them are gonna be in the 24 budget?
By the time things get done, we could probably make them all in 24. By the time it's built and,
And that's what this budget is built on, is
Yes.
that these 3 trucks were purchased out
all
of.
that was pushed over to the 24,
Okay.
yes.
So in terms of primary road maintenance, at this point in time, in terms of what projects, you know, in terms of we're looking at, you probably are not in a position to give us XY roads, are you?
Not yet, that's part of what we're finishing up right now too, as part of the traffic summit, but that'll be a generic kind of what we're planning. But we're looking at that right now.
Okay.
But like I said last year, we concentrated heavily, I think for the past 2 years, on local roads. We need to concentrate on some primaries next year. We still need to do local stuff, but it needs to be weighted more heavily on some of the primary roads and,
Well, that's the reason that the expenditures on local roads for maintenance is less than half what it is in the current year.
yes.
And
And a lot of that just gets driven by what the townships are asking for too, for their projects, I mean,
Sure.
so. But before it was all like lumped into one, just for one lump thing for roads, the 7 million. And that's where we had issues with the auditor,
Yeah.
so now we split it out into local and primary for all those sections, so we can tell exactly
Mhm.
what we wanna spend, what we projected to spend, locals and primaries. And we should not have that issue again.
So I guess I have another question then, under, capital outlay. In addition to the trucks, are there any other quote, big ticket items that you have in mind for 2024?
There's a lot of them I have in mind, can we pay for them? No. We have been talking for actually a few smaller items, if you wanna get into that, like a mill that goes on the skid steer. So it's like a 3-foot mill to do some of the small things like that.
What kind of a mill? I mean, what would be the purpose of it?
To mill the road, to grind the road.
Okay.
Like we need to do a butt joint, for
Okay,
paving.
like what we did on Montgomery
Yes.
Road, instead of
Yes.
hiring Jackson to come down and do that, or
Yeah.
renting their equipment, we could do that ourselves with this one.
For small pieces, I mean, so, like that was a 5-foot mill, and it's a big piece of equipment, but it does 5 foot, and this one does like 3 foot. But it doesn't pick up, it just mills and grinds it up, you'd have to sweep it up and pick it up, where the big mill actually puts it into a truck, It's just a way of, you can grind out small spots that are badly potholed up and pave in a small spot,
When you're doing paver patching,
Yeah, paver patching, you can put a butt joint in,
instead of
you know.
feathering it out, and that's always what breaks off.
Yeah,
Some of the roads that we've used millings on, and now they're locked up almost as tight as,
Yeah,
you
yeah, that's,
asphalt. You can go through and just mill it and just regrade it and,
roll it back down again.
basically.
so what would that piece of equipment cost?
What we're looking at, we're actually looking at a couple of them, they're on auction, probably 10.
Oh,
I mean, they're smaller, they're all
Yeah.
smaller items, no more than 20,
Yeah.
probably. But things like that, and a pickup broom, which is like a broom that like brushes it into a tray on the skid steer, and then you can dump the material, instead of just brushing it into yards and stuff. Little things like that, and a frost tooth that goes on the excavator, so we can put that on the excavator and they can pop the stump roots and then pick the stump out instead of spending a day trying to dig a root out, Just things like that, we're looking at smaller items, but we eventually will need a new high reach. Our high reach is in sad shape. I think a good used one is a good thing to look at, but along with the project, we're looking at what equipment we think.
so a used high reach, what might that cost? $100,000?
Yeah. Sometimes you can pick them up from consumers, fairly cheap, things like that, but there's a lot of different items that need to be replaced, it's just they're gonna have to be a little at a time.
Sure. Any other questions on the proposed 24 budgets before us? If not, are we ready to vote?
Sure.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The motion is approved. The 24 proposed budget is in place and subject to the public hearing at our next meeting.
At that time, we have to do a roll call, don't we?
Yeah, we do.
Now, if there's anything you guys see in between that, can you call and I can tweak it, or does it have to stay the way it is right now?
I think it has to stay the way it is right now.
Right.
So after the public hearing, then it could be
Amended.
tweaked or changed
Right.
before given final approval. And then, the township contract, we have one, Moscow Township.
That one was a tube that basically we went in and installed that tube, and then when we went to bill it, found that we didn't have a contract. And so I contacted Moscow and they said, yep, we understand that, and sent us the bill, and so they signed the contract, and we just need you guys to sign off on the contract and.
So,
get
so in
billed
essence,
properly.
this job is done.
Yeah.
Yes.
So is this the Denning Road one?
Yes, that's that.
Okay, okay.
Good Thanksgiving, Mike.
Thank you.
Happy
Have a good
Happy
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving, Mike.
You guys too.
If you're like me, you're thankful to be here this Thanksgiving, right?
Right.
So we gotta approve this.
Mhm.
Yes, and there's a contract for everybody to sign. They went, Moscow's
I
already
move
signed
that
it.
we approve the culvert work for Moscow Township.
Support.
Okay, have a motion to support for this contract for Moscow. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no, it's approved. So Mike, why don't you
Yep.
sign it?
Getting you first.
Yeah.
Any one of these lines right there, under number.
I still got
I've caught myself doing that a few times too. I vote for you guys too.
You do.
Whoever you say, I'm a guy. And I'm like, I don't need to, I don't need to vote.
You just join in.
Yeah.
You think,
Bye, bye.
you think we're doing Christmas carols or what?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I've caught myself a few times. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Hmm.
I'm on so many, I have to bite my tongue.
You know, it's funny, you go to different board meetings and each board kind of handles things differently. And in Somerset, they do everything by roll call.
Mhm. Yes.
Everything?
Everything. Everything by roll call.
Well, there,
Yeah.
that's a township where you have lots of people involved in every
No, they got,
public meeting.
well, they got their board and they got all their,
They got lake people.
yeah, they got all their committees
Oh,
and everything
yeah.
around them. It's interesting.
Okay. So we're back to public, okay, there's one other thing I wanna propose, okay? And I talked about this at the last meeting, is a couple of signs on Camden Road. In the area east of Camden where we have the detour route. After the last meeting, I went out and met with the Amish bishop, and they're willing to pay for a couple of signs on that road. You know, that, in terms of, you know, I think Bob, you asked me, what kind of signs would you put there? Well, I've seen signs in Branch County that show, you know, an Amish buggy. And then I would also wanna see, you know, it's approximately 4 miles, that stretch of road from the east edge of, right east of the village limit to just west of Cambria Road, where you have this heavy concentration of Amish people. So it's about 4 miles.
You said west of Cambria?
West of Cambria Road, yeah, just west of Cambria Road.
Okay.
Just east of the village limit to just west of Cambria Road, so. It would, and, you know, so you'd have this picture of an Amish buggy, and then below it, the words, next 4 miles. So that's what I would like to see happen out there. The Amish bishop assured me that they would be happy to pay for the 2 signs. And so that's what I'm proposing. I would put that in the form of a motion, you know, with the stipulation that they would pay the cost to do it.
Does it have to be a policy?
It should be.
Well, I guess I would say you know, prior to you coming on board, Bob, we voted
Yeah.
to, do a, hidden driveway sign on Bankers Road, just west of M49, between, M49 and the church at the top of the hill. And so, I mean,
It's really a board decision.
these
I
things
mean,
have been done in the past in this county.
They can. I think you need to be cautious on it, otherwise you wind up people not paying attention to any of the signs, if you get too much out there. And that's the,
'Cause then you could
that's the concern across the state even,
Mhm.
I mean, but,
Because people come, autistic child area, an area, or blind people in area, then you'll
Deaf
have,
child.
yeah, then that brings that door open for all that also.
Well, I mean, there are some of those in this county. And which, in my view, I think it's good. And, you know, I guess at this point in time,
Should we see if it goes against the policy first? Or correct the policy first, or something like that?
is there
Is there a policy?
Is there, yes, that's
Let me do some
all
work
that.
on that. And is there somebody, I don't wanna speak out of turn here, nothing, is there somebody from the board, even you, Gary, that would like to sit down and either go over and do, you know, adjust the policy, make a policy, or, you know, do it so then we can bring it to the board to get signed
As a policy.
as an official or an updated policy.
I like that idea
If
better.
people are willing.
What's that?
I said, if everyone agrees on it.
Yeah, at that point, the board would have to get the policy and,
well, there's a, you know, and maybe this is a different scenario, but I can show you on M99, just about where Swafford Road intersects with M99, there's a sign that's been there for years that shows a tractor with a piece of farm equipment, and right below it, it says, you know, 1 mile ahead.
and things like that have been done in the past. And you know, you're gonna see them everywhere. But if you noted that you're probably not seeing any new ones, that nobody puts up too many new ones anymore.
Well,
Some places still do, some villages put up, some cities put up signs that's, again, up to that municipality that controls those roads as to what they allow or want to see on their roads. And it's the same with here. I mean, I can voice my opinion, but at the end of the day, it's the board's policy to how you wanna address it.
Gary,
yes,
Bob, are we meeting with the Amish next week?
I've gotta set that up, yes.
If we could, maybe we could meet with them and see where we end up after that.
That's a good idea.
That's up to you guys.
you know, the concern that I have, and I have a feeling that that's probably what's gonna happen anyway, because nobody has supported my motion, is that, you know, not only is this a concern that I have for the Amish people that are traveling that road, but it's the concern that I have for the quote English drivers who are using the road. Because if somebody, I mean, the people who use that road on a regular basis, they're aware that the Amish travel that, and they're on the lookout for them. The concern I have is the traffic that we're throwing on there as a result of the detour of new people who are traveling that road who are not aware that they're there. And if they run into the back end of an Amish buggy or an Amish manure spreader that's going at 3 miles an hour down the road, you know, and they severely injure or kill somebody, that's gonna weigh on their conscience, even though they may not be at fault at 1 iota. I mean, I have an uncle, he's deceased now, lived in Fort Wayne, and he was, close to home, and there was a young child who ran out between two parked cars. My uncle was not speeding. He was never cited for this, but he killed that boy for 2 years. You know, he had a horrible time. I have a friend in Jackson County who was driving a pickup truck and pulling a livestock trailer, going around the curve, and there was a woman coming the other direction. And she wasn't paying attention to what she was doing, and she came over and hit his trailer, and for 6 months afterwards, he couldn't drive by himself. He had to have somebody with him. So this isn't, you know, a situation where, you know, I'm right, and so there are no consequences. There are consequences for everybody that's involved in a horrible accident like this. And I just think that some signage out there lessens the chance of that happening. Will it prevent it totally? No, probably not. But I think if it lessens the chance, then it's something that we ought to be willing to do. And in this case, you know, it's not gonna cost us, the road commission, a dime to do it. These folks have assured me they're willing to pay for it. And 20 years ago, when this came up, none of them were using any flashing lights on their buggies, and they are now.
I guess the only thing I have to say is having drove truck, and I'm not trying to belittle or sound sarcastic or anything, but people don't even use their turn signals. And people don't even obey stop signs or stop lights. And granted, the sign could be there that says Amish ahead. I doubt if people would even see the sign. A person driving 50, if they're driving 55 miles an hour, most people drive 60. They're gonna be by the sign before they even know what it said. And well, it's no different than the situation they have in Jerome. They can't keep people driving 25 through Jerome. And they want the county to put up flashing signs and rumble strips and everything. Granted, that might help, but it's not gonna solve all the problems. And so I guess, I mean, if we wanna establish a policy as a board about signage, I'm all for that. That's a fine thing to do. But as far as just putting up signs, other than what we are required to put up, I guess I would say I'm opposed to it.
Okay, any other public comment here before we close?
I'm gonna vent a little bit, you don't have to take notes on this. I'm in way over my head, there's no doubt about it. Since I've been doing this job, the road commission contract is a very difficult thing for me. I have to deal with my board, and then I come here and I have to deal with you guys. We started in February, I think last year, start talking about these contracts. And I go back to the board and I say, where are we gonna get this money? How are we gonna do it? Who wants to do what? And it takes a lot of work. We have targeted Blair Road with our ARPA money, our relief money. And then I targeted our road because it's bad. And it's a main shot to go to Reading to Hillsdale. And we got a road millage. I don't even know how this is gonna work. But anyhow, we come up with these 3 contracts. My board thinks we're gonna have 3 roads done this year. That's not gonna happen. I know it. There's no orange flags on Fowler. There's no orange flags on Hapes. It'll never happen this year. But I gotta tell my board that. Now I come here today, and not Blair Road. We've changed it from a gravel road, limestone, all gravel, and we've worked on contracts and stuff. Now I gotta go back in there and tell them it ain't gonna happen. It's tough.
Like I said, we can sit and talk about it, or we can talk about it right now. If you want it on there, we can't put it on.
See, you're putting a burden on me.
I know,
Because I come out of the automotive world, I'm a quality engineer, and I work with hundreds of suppliers in North America. And I go out and make deals with them, and when you make a deal with somebody, that's your credibility. And when you lose your credibility, you've lost everything. So you put me in a really bad situation. Bob, you're doing a great job, don't get me wrong, you're doing a great job. But I don't even know what to say. So, I'm not a road engineer, but I want Blair Road done. And I want it to hold up. I don't want Paradise Drive coming to my meetings and just, you know what I go through.
Yeah.
I got board members right now that don't know about these other two roads. If they're watching this, I'm in big trouble. You know.
They won't see it till Monday.
But anyhow, I'm done. Yeah.
Okay, anybody else?
Yes.
Doug?
In my update that I give the Board of Commissioners, the manager's report gave a progress for 2023. Can I say a certain percentage of township contracts complete?
I would say all contracts are complete other than the ditch and deburn. There's like 6, actually 5 now.
Okay.
So all contracts for crush and shake, the overlays, chip seal, paver patch, re-gravel are all done. That's our ditch and deburn projects. I think we got 6 of them.
Thank you.
I guess
We're still gonna work on, but I can't tell you what level of completion they'll get this year.
That's fine. Thank you.
Okay. Oh, I have a question. 2 questions, I guess, I've written down here. What kind of an increase do we have for health insurance, percentage-wise, for 2024?
I would have to go grab it, I can't tell you off the top of my head.
How long would it take you to come up with that number?
I can go see if I can go grab it real quick.
2 seconds.
I got a lot of projects going on right now, so I just gotta go grab it.
Okay, and then I have another question too, and that is, you know, I know it's in the past, the board has bought hams for Christmas and given to employees. And I heard some discussion, or there was a question asked actually before the meeting ever started today. And so I think we needed to talk about that. Because,
Gary,
yeah,
I thought, I didn't get a chance to call you, but, the other board members and Bob and I, and hopefully you, we were gonna split it 6 ways.
I'm willing to do that. That answers my concern.
Okay.
I thought that was gonna go in a different direction, so I'm glad to hear that.
I had Karen price them, and they're $3.29 a pound, and M&M's the only one that would give a price.
Okay.
The others said, oh, it's way too early and everything, so last year they came from M&M because they ended up being the cheapest anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So all she's got to do is get a total now of how many, because we've added some people and so on, so whatever that total comes up to.
Good enough.
It'll work pretty good.
Yeah.
All right.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
I thought maybe Bob and I was gonna go out and shoot more deer.
They call it ham?
Venison ham.
Here's your ham.
Okay, so you can see if you can find that, please.
Okay, well, while she's finding that, I'm gonna take a short break.
And I'm sure she might address it, but it looks like we'll probably be under cap, so we don't have to worry about that this year. We were wondering how many people were gonna swap because of the plans, but it doesn't appear that as many swaps as we were tiered, so it should be okay.
I gotta search through here, and if it's not here, I gotta go through my email. If you asked me before, I would've been prepared.
Sorry.
I'm sorry. No, I'm Green Township.
I think I'm gonna lose you, we're going into the tunnel.
Tunnel? Is this the tunnel to Q?
We're in Pennsylvania, I'm gonna head into the tunnel here pretty soon.
Oh, okay. I thought
I'll
you,
let all of you go.
I thought you were in Florida and you were gonna go to Cuba.
I would really like to be aboard, rather than Virginia. All right, thanks, everybody.
Have a great Thanksgiving, Bob.
Happy Thanksgiving.
You too, everybody there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Should I wait till Mark comes back?
Yeah, you might as well. So how do I, is he gonna hang up and it just goes off, or do I need to shut something off here?
It's off.
Okay, good enough.
So were we done with public comment, or?
Yeah,
Okay, I wasn't sure.
Did you come for a public comment or talk to me?
Are you Bob?
Yep.
Yeah.
Alright.
Alright,
Right.
I just wanted to make sure we didn't.
Yep.
Okay, Bob, do we need to talk about anything, or?
I'll sit down and talk with Kevin and we'll work
I'm
something out.
sorry, but,
No, I totally understand your frustrations and
it's getting to be.
we'll do our best.
Nobody told me about this.
So
You're getting warned me.
live and learn.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
have a great Thanksgiving, Alan.
The overall rate increase is 8.05%, with the VCN segment receiving a 6.13% increase, and the Blue Cross Blue Shield, the PPO, receiving a 9.85 increase. 9.85%.
Almost 10%.
But the average is 8.05.
Yeah.
The overall.
That's
Overall, it's
And that's,
about inflation rate.
and that's probably pretty close to what the county's is going up, isn't it? Something like that. That's been what I've heard.
7.8, I believe.
Yeah, so it's, they're not far apart.
And that's why you were gone, I was saying, we're kind of thinking that we'll stay under cap because of all the more people that have
Yeah.
switched.
I'm gonna go back and ask on Monday to see if, I've been going over there every other morning to see if anybody has any slips to give me, or if they have any questions, to encourage them to get them to me as soon as possible. So I can work on that project.
Okay. Anybody else have anything? I hear a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
We have a motion from Kathy and support from Mark to adjourn the meeting. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
And I vote aye also. Opposed no. The meeting is adjourned.